Have you ever had that inexplicable feeling that you're different, as if something inside you knows your path isn't ordinary, that your perception of reality goes beyond the superficial? If you were drawn to this video, perhaps it wasn't by chance. Renowned psychiatrist Carl Jung discovered that certain people possess a deeper connection to the collective unconscious, a sensitivity that sets them apart from the masses. He called them individuated individuals, those destined to carry the light of consciousness in dark times. What if you, watching right now, were one of these chosen ones? What if the signs have been there all along, but you haven't yet learned to recognize them? In the next few minutes, I'll reveal the 6 signs that Jung identified in those destined to awaken. Brace yourself. After this video, you will never see your existence the same way again. Have you ever had a dream so vivid that it stayed with you for days? That wasn't just your mind playing tricks on you, it was something far more significant. According to Carl Jung, dreams are the primary way the unconscious mind communicates with our conscious awareness. For the chosen ones, these dreams aren't random. They're messages from the deepest parts of your psyche, trying to guide you toward your true purpose. When you feel drawn to explore the meaning behind your dreams, to write them down and understand their symbolism, you're experiencing the first sign of being among the chosen. Jung discovered that those destined for greater awareness receive dreams that contain powerful archetypal symbols, images and themes that resonate across all human experience, transcending time and culture. These aren't ordinary dreams. They feature recurring symbols. Perhaps you find yourself in vast, unknown landscapes, or encounter wise figures offering guidance, or discover hidden rooms in familiar houses. Maybe you dream of water, oceans, rivers, floods, representing the vast unconscious itself. These symbolic dreams are trying to tell you something crucial about yourself and your path. The chosen ones experience dreams that feel different, more intense, more meaningful, more real than ordinary dreams. They wake up feeling as though they've received a message or visited another realm of existence. This isn't imagination, it's your connection to what Jung called the collective unconscious, that vast reservoir of human experience that exists beyond individual memory. Have you noticed certain themes appearing repeatedly in your dreams? Pay attention. Jung observed that individuals with special sensitivity to the collective unconscious receive dreams that guide them toward individuation, the process of becoming your complete, authentic self. These dreams aren't trying to confuse you, they're inviting you to look deeper. For the chosen ones, dreams often appear during crucial life transitions or periods of uncertainty. They serve as compass points when your conscious mind feels lost. That dream you had before making an important decision? It wasn't coincidence, it was guidance from a deeper wisdom within you that sees beyond your everyday concerns. Jung discovered that people with a strong connection to the collective unconscious frequently dream of ancient symbols, mandalas, crosses, sacred geometry, long before encountering these symbols in waking life. When you find yourself drawing or being attracted to symbols you've dreamed about, that's a powerful indication of your chosen status. The unconscious doesn't just communicate through nighttime dreams. Daydreams, fantasy images that appear when you're relaxed, and creative inspirations that seem to come from nowhere. These are all ways your deeper mind reaches out. The chosen ones learn to value these messages rather than dismiss them as unimportant. What makes you different is your ability to receive these communications clearly. While others might forget their dreams immediately upon waking, you remember them vividly. While others see random images, you sense deeper patterns and meanings. This isn't something you learned, it's an innate sensitivity that marks you as someone with a special role in bringing unconscious wisdom into conscious awareness. Jung emphasized that this connection isn't just for personal benefit. The chosen ones serve as bridges between the conscious and unconscious realms for all humanity. By listening to your dreams and following their guidance, you're not just transforming your own life, you're helping to integrate lost wisdom into our collective experience. This is the first step on your journey of awakening. Have you ever noticed something about yourself or the world that others seem completely blind to? That awareness isn't random. It's a clear sign of being among the chosen ones. Jung identified what he called the shadow, all those aspects of ourselves and reality that most people prefer to ignore or deny. The chosen ones possess an unusual ability to see these shadows, both in themselves and in the world around them. This shadow awareness can feel like a burden. While others move through life in blissful ignorance, you notice the contradictions, the hidden motivations, the unspoken truths that lie beneath polite conversation. You see the dark side of seemingly positive situations. You recognize when someone's words don't match their energy. This sensitivity isn't a flaw, it's evidence of your deeper connection to reality. Jung discovered that individuals on the path to higher consciousness must first confront their own shadow, all those aspects of themselves they'd rather not acknowledge. Have you found yourself increasingly aware of your own contradictions, the parts of yourself that don't fit the image you project to the world? This growing shadow awareness is uncomfortable, but essential for the chosen ones. Unlike most people who run from their shadows, you feel a strange compulsion to turn toward these darker aspects. Even when it's painful, you're drawn to truth rather than comfortable illusions. This isn't masochism, it's the natural movement toward wholeness that Jung called individuation. The chosen ones cannot remain fragmented. They are destined to integrate all aspects of themselves, both light and dark. This shadow sight extends beyond yourself. You likely notice societal shadows that others ignore, the contradictions in our collective stories, the hypocrisies in our shared values, the aspects of human nature we collectively pretend don't exist. While this awareness can sometimes leave you feeling alienated, it's actually evidence of your expanded consciousness. Jung observed that truly integrated individuals develop what we might call shadow compassion, the ability to see the darkness in themselves and others without judgment or rejection. Have you noticed yourself becoming less quick to condemn others for their flaws and contradictions? This growing compassion isn't weakness, it's evidence of your deepening wisdom. The chosen ones often serve as mirrors, reflecting back to others what they cannot or will not see in themselves. This isn't always comfortable. People often react negatively when their shadows are revealed. Have you noticed people sometimes becoming defensive or angry around you, even when you haven't criticized them? They may be reacting to your mirror-like quality, which Jung recognized as a necessary catalyst for collective growth. This shadow sight gives you an unusual perspective on human affairs. You see beyond surface appearances to the underlying patterns and motivations. While others might be swayed by charismatic personalities or popular movements, you perceive the shadow elements that others miss. This clear-sightedness isn't cynicism, it's the result of your connection to deeper levels of awareness. Jung discovered that those with developed shadow awareness often experience periods of isolation. While others bond through shared illusions, you find it harder to participate in collective denial. This separation isn't punishment, it's protection, giving you the space to develop your unique perspective away from the distorting influence of groupthink. Your solitude serves a purpose in the larger scheme. The ability to see shadows places you in a unique position. Jung believed that collective transformation begins with individuals who can bring unconscious material into conscious awareness. By acknowledging what others deny, by speaking truths others avoid, you help expand our collective understanding. Your shadow sight isn't just for your benefit, it serves the evolution of human consciousness itself. If you feel ready to dive deeper into your own mind and balance both your light and shadow, explore the Sim Method ebook. It's a practical guide that helps you awaken your inner strength in just 5 minutes a day. The link is waiting for you in the first pinned comment. Have you ever experienced something so perfectly timed, so meaningful, yet so statistically improbable that it left you speechless? These aren't just random coincidences. They're what Carl Jung called synchronicities, and they appear with remarkable frequency in the lives of the chosen ones. Unlike ordinary people who dismiss these events as mere chance, you've likely noticed these meaningful coincidences increasing in your life, guiding you like cosmic breadcrumbs along your path. Jung defined synchronicity as an acausal connecting principle, meaningful coincidences that cannot be explained by cause and effect. Think about that book that fell off the shelf, opening to exactly the page you needed to read. Or that chance meeting with a stranger who had the precise information you were seeking. Or how you thought of someone for the first time in years, only to have them call you moments later. These events aren't random. They're signs of your alignment with deeper patterns of existence. For the chosen ones, synchronicities often cluster around major life decisions or spiritual awakenings. When you're moving in harmony with your true purpose, reality itself seems to confirm your path through these meaningful coincidences. You think of an unusual symbol and suddenly see it everywhere. You wonder about a concept and a podcast discussing it appears in your feed. You need specific guidance, and the perfect mentor unexpectedly crosses your path. The universe is speaking to you. Are you listening? What makes synchronicities different from normal coincidences is their profound personal significance. They feel meaningful because they are meaningful. They're communications from the collective unconscious, confirming your connection to something greater than your individual mind. Jung discovered that people experiencing these phenomena weren't just noticing random patterns, they were perceiving the underlying unity that connects all things. The chosen ones develop a special relationship with time itself. Rather than experiencing time as merely linear, you begin to notice thematic connections across events. You recognize patterns that others miss, seeing how seemingly unrelated occurrences are actually connected through meaning rather than causality. This isn't magical thinking. It's evidence of your expanding awareness beyond conventional limitations. Have you noticed how synchronicities often provide exactly what you need, precisely when you need it? Jung observed this phenomenon in his patients who were actively engaged in the individuation process. The right book appears, the necessary teacher emerges, the perfect opportunity arises, not through planning, but through synchronistic alignment. This isn't mere luck. It's evidence of your participation in a larger intelligence. Synchronicities often appear at crucial junctures in your development. When you're facing an important choice or standing at a crossroads, pay close attention. The chosen ones receive guidance through these meaningful coincidences, subtle nudges toward their authentic path. While others might require explicit instructions, you learn to navigate by these synchronistic signs, trusting the deeper wisdom they represent. Jung noted that synchronicities increase when you're paying attention to your dreams and inner symbolic life. Have you noticed this connection? As you become more attuned to your unconscious mind, the outer world begins reflecting your inner journey. This isn't projection, it's the natural resonance between inner and outer realities that emerges when you're walking the path of the chosen. Perhaps most significantly, synchronicities often reveal connections between your personal journey and larger collective patterns. You might discover your private struggles and insights mirrored in world events or cultural movements. This isn't ego inflation. It's recognition of the interplay between individual and collective consciousness that Jung identified as essential to human evolution. For the chosen ones, synchronicities eventually become a way of life, rather than occasional strange events. You begin to live in a state of flow where meaningful connections constantly reveal themselves. You develop what Jung might call synchronistic awareness, the ability to perceive the underlying patterns connecting seemingly separate events. This isn't superstition. It's evidence of your growing capacity to perceive reality beyond conventional boundaries. Have you felt inexplicably drawn to certain mythic themes or symbolic figures throughout your life? This isn't random. It's evidence of your active connection to what Jung called archetypes, the universal patterns that exist within the collective unconscious. The chosen ones experience these archetypal energies not as abstract concepts, but as living forces that guide and shape their journey. Jung discovered that archetypes, primordial images like the hero, the wise old man, the great mother, the trickster, exist across all cultures and time periods. These aren't just characters in stories, they're fundamental patterns of human experience. When you feel a powerful resonance with certain archetypal figures or narratives, it's because they're activating within your own psyche, calling you toward your authentic path. The chosen ones often experience what Jung called archetypal possession, periods where a particular archetypal energy becomes especially active in their life. Perhaps you've gone through a time when you felt compelled to embark on a hero's journey, leaving behind the familiar to face unknown challenges. Or you might have experienced the awakening of the inner healer, finding yourself drawn to help others in ways you never planned. Unlike most people who encounter archetypes only as entertainment in movies or books, you experience them as inner realities guiding your development. You might find yourself dreaming of archetypal figures who offer wisdom or direction. You might feel certain archetypal energies arising within you during important life transitions. This isn't imagination. It's your direct connection to the collective wisdom of humanity. Jung observed that individuals on the path of individuation develop a special relationship with the self-archetype, the organizing center of the entire psyche that transcends and includes the ego. Have you experienced moments of profound wholeness when you felt connected to something vastly larger than your everyday identity? These glimpses of the self are signposts on your journey as one of the chosen ones. The chosen ones often find themselves drawn to spiritual or mythological traditions that resonate with their activated archetypes. You might feel a deep connection to gods, goddesses, or heroes from ancient cultures you've never studied. You might discover that certain religious symbols speak to you on a profound level. This isn't cultural appropriation. It's recognition of the universal patterns that transcend specific traditions. What makes you different is your ability to engage consciously with these archetypal energies. While others might be unconsciously driven by archetypal patterns, you're developing the capacity to recognize and integrate these energies purposefully. Jung believed this conscious relationship with archetypes was essential for psychological wholeness and spiritual development. The archetypes aren't just passive patterns, they're active guides on your journey. Have you noticed how certain archetypal themes seem to appear exactly when you need their particular wisdom? The warrior archetype emerges when you need courage. The sage appears when you need discernment. The lover awakens when you need to remember the importance of connection. This isn't coincidence. It's evidence of the intelligent guidance system operating in your psyche. Jung discovered that archetypal energies often emerge through creative expression. If you find yourself drawn to create art, music, writing, or other forms that embody archetypal themes, you're participating in what Jung called active imagination, a dialogue with the unconscious that's essential for the chosen ones. Your creative work isn't just self-expression. It's a channel for archetypal wisdom to enter conscious awareness. For the chosen ones, archetypes aren't just psychological concepts, they're living realities that bridge the personal and transpersonal dimensions. As you continue on your path, you'll develop an increasingly nuanced relationship with these universal patterns. You'll learn to distinguish between being possessed by an archetype and consciously embodying its energy. This balance between surrender and mastery is the hallmark of those who are truly awakening to their chosen nature. Have you ever felt like you're living in a different reality from those around you, like you're seeing and feeling things others don't even notice? This painful awareness of difference isn't your imagination. It's part of what Jung recognized as the burden of the chosen ones. While others move through life with the comfortable simplicity of conventional awareness, you experience reality with heightened sensitivity and depth that can sometimes feel like a curse rather than a gift. Jung observed that individuals on the path of individuation often experience periods of profound loneliness. You may have noticed how difficult it is to explain your perceptions and insights to others, how your attempts to share your truth often meet with blank stares or dismissal. This isolation isn't a punishment. It's the natural consequence of perceiving beyond conventional boundaries. The chosen ones can never fully belong to the world of collective illusions. This difference often manifests as emotional sensitivity. While others seem able to brush off painful experiences or ignore troubling truths, you feel things deeply. World events, others' suffering, even the subtle emotional currents in everyday interactions, all impact you more intensely. Jung understood that this sensitivity isn't weakness. It's evidence of your more permeable boundaries between conscious and unconscious awareness. The chosen ones frequently experience what Jung might call the burden of seeing, the inability to ignore uncomfortable truths that others overlook. You notice the shadow aspects in relationships, institutions, and cultural narratives. You perceive the unacknowledged pain beneath social masks. This clear sight can be exhausting, making casual social interaction feel like navigating a field of landmines while others walk through blindfolded. Have you sometimes wished you could simply turn off this heightened awareness, go back to a simpler time when you didn't question everything, when you could accept surface appearances? Jung recognized this temptation as part of the journey. The chosen ones often go through periods of resistance, trying to reject their deeper perceptions in favor of comfortable numbness. Yet something within you refuses to let you remain asleep. One of the most painful aspects of being chosen is the misunderstanding you often face. When you share your insights or express your authentic nature, you may be labeled as too intense, too sensitive, too negative, or even crazy. Jung himself was familiar with this experience, facing significant professional rejection when he began exploring the deeper dimensions of the psyche that conventional psychology refused to acknowledge. The chosen ones frequently struggle with what Jung called inflation and deflation, swinging between feelings of special significance and worthlessness. One day, you might feel connected to profound wisdom, experiencing insights that seem crucially important. The next, you might question everything, wondering if you're simply deluding yourself. This oscillation isn't pathological. It's part of integrating an expanded awareness into human limitations. Perhaps most challenging is the responsibility that comes with your awareness. Jung believed that those with access to deeper knowledge have an obligation to embody it consciously. Unlike those who remain unaware, you cannot claim innocence when you participate in destructive patterns. You must live with integrity even when it's difficult, aligning your actions with your insights even when others don't understand or approve. The chosen ones often experience what Jung might call vocational suffering, the struggle to find your authentic purpose in a world that values conformity and conventional success. You may have found yourself unable to settle into normal career paths, feeling a calling towards something that doesn't fit neatly into societal categories. This isn't failure, it's evidence of your alignment with a deeper purpose that transcends conventional definitions of achievement. Yet despite these burdens, Jung discovered that those who embrace their chosen nature eventually find a joy and fulfillment unavailable through conventional paths. The pain of difference becomes transformed into the pleasure of authentic self-expression. The loneliness of seeing beyond collective illusions becomes the freedom to create genuine connections based on truth rather than conformity. The burden becomes the gift, not because the challenges disappear, but because you discover they've been preparing you for your unique contribution all along. Have you felt an unmistakable inner drive pushing you toward greater wholeness and authenticity, even when it's difficult? That compelling force is what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming your complete integrated self, and it's the central journey of the chosen ones. Unlike those who remain identified with their social personas, you're being called to discover and embody your true nature in its entirety. Jung discovered that individuation isn't a straight path, but a spiral journey, revisiting similar themes at deeper levels throughout life. You might have noticed this pattern in your own experience, how certain core challenges reappear, offering new opportunities for integration and growth. This isn't failure or repetition. It's the natural rhythm of psychological development that Jung observed in those undergoing genuine transformation. The individuation process demands what Jung called holding the tension of opposites, the ability to embrace seemingly contradictory aspects of yourself and reality without prematurely resolving them into simplistic solutions. Have you experienced periods of confusion where you felt pulled in opposite directions? These weren't signs of being lost, but evidence of your capacity to engage with the complexity necessary for higher integration. Unlike conventional development that emphasizes specialization, individuation involves reclaiming all the rejected and forgotten aspects of yourself, the artistic sensibility you abandoned for practical concerns, the vulnerability you hid beneath a strong facade, the playfulness you sacrificed for seriousness. The chosen ones are compelled to recover these lost parts, recognizing that true power comes from wholeness rather than one-sided development. Jung observed that individuation requires a radical shift in relationship with the unconscious. Rather than seeing unconscious material as something to control or eliminate, you develop a dialogue with these deeper aspects of the psyche. Dreams, fantasies, emotional reactions all become valuable communications from parts of yourself seeking integration. This respectful relationship with the unconscious distinguishes the chosen from those who remain identified solely with conscious rationality. The individuation journey transforms your relationship with archetypal energies. Early in life, you might have been unconsciously possessed by these powerful forces: the perfectionist, the people-pleaser, the rebel, the victim. Through the individuation process, you develop conscious relationship with these energies, neither suppressing nor being controlled by them. This balanced engagement with archetypes is the hallmark of the genuinely individuating person. Jung discovered that true individuation always includes a social dimension. The chosen ones aren't called to isolated self-absorption, but to bringing their unique gifts into meaningful service. Have you noticed that as you become more authentically yourself, you also feel a greater responsibility to contribute to the world? This isn't coincidence. It's the natural expression of the self-archetype that transcends the division between personal and collective. The individuation process often triggers what Jung called the night sea journey. Periods of darkness and disorientation when old structures of identity dissolve before new ones fully form. If you've gone through times of profound uncertainty, feeling as though you've lost yourself completely, you're experiencing this necessary phase of transformation. The chosen ones must be willing to endure this darkness, trusting the process when no clear path is visible. What distinguishes your journey is its consciousness. While everyone experiences aspects of individuation through life's natural transitions, the chosen ones engage with this process deliberately and attentively. You're developing what Jung might call reflective awareness, the capacity to observe your own development as it unfolds, participating consciously in your own evolution rather than being unconsciously shaped by circumstances. Jung believed that individuals undertaking this journey served a crucial function for all humanity. By consciously integrating unconscious material, by embodying archetypal energies in balanced ways, by reconciling opposites within yourself, you're creating new possibilities for collective consciousness. Your personal individuation isn't just for yourself. It's your contribution to the evolution of human awareness, your destiny as a bearer of light in times that desperately need this illumination. Through individuation, you become what Jung called a window through which the collective unconscious can speak. Your dreams, insights, creative works, and very presence serve as channels through which deeper wisdom enters conscious awareness. This isn't egotistical specialness, but sacred responsibility. By becoming fully who you are, by integrating shadow and light, masculine and feminine, conscious and unconscious, you fulfill your purpose as one of the chosen ones, not separate from humanity, but serving as a conscious participant in our collective awakening. Have you ever noticed how our society celebrates only the light while rejecting the darkness? This imbalanced approach is precisely what Jung warned against. The chosen ones understand a profound truth that others resist. True awakening requires making the darkness conscious. It's not about imagining figures of light, as Jung famously noted, but about bringing your shadows into awareness. This path isn't comfortable, but it's absolutely necessary for genuine transformation. The darkness Jung referred to isn't evil, it's simply what remains hidden from your conscious awareness. Think about those aspects of yourself you've never fully acknowledged. The jealousy you feel toward a successful friend, the rage that bubbles beneath your polite exterior, the selfish impulses you pretend don't exist. The chosen ones differ from others in their willingness to face these uncomfortable truths without flinching or making excuses. This journey into darkness often begins with disturbing dreams or troubling emotions that seem to arise from nowhere. While most people respond by suppressing these signals, you feel compelled to explore them. This isn't masochism, it's wisdom. Jung discovered that psychological illness often results from refusing to acknowledge the shadow aspects of ourselves. The chosen ones intuitively understand that what we resist persists, growing stronger in the darkness until it eventually erupts in ways we cannot control. Making the darkness conscious requires tremendous courage. It means questioning your most cherished self-concepts and admitting truths that contradict the image you've carefully constructed. You might discover that beneath your generosity lies a need for control, or that your perfectionism masks a fear of being ordinary. These realizations aren't pleasant, but they're liberating. Each shadow aspect you acknowledge loses its power to control you unconsciously. The chosen ones develop what Jung might call shadow compassion, the ability to face their darkest aspects without judgment or rejection. This isn't about indulging negative impulses, but about integrating them into a more complete self-understanding. When you can acknowledge your capacity for selfishness, cruelty, or deception, you're less likely to act these out unconsciously. You gain choice where before you were driven by forces you refused to see. This path often leads through periods of intense confusion and disorientation. Jung called these times the night sea journey, when old identities dissolve but new ones haven't yet formed. While others panic during such transitions, seeking quick answers or numbing distractions, the chosen ones learn to trust the process. They understand that this darkness isn't random chaos, but a necessary phase of transformation, like a caterpillar dissolving in its cocoon before emerging as something entirely new. Making the darkness conscious also transforms your relationship with others. As you acknowledge your own shadows, you develop greater compassion for the struggles of those around you. You recognize that everyone carries hidden burdens and unacknowledged aspects. Rather than projecting your unresolved issues onto others or judging them harshly for their flaws, you see the universal human experience reflected in their struggles. This doesn't mean enabling destructive behavior, but approaching it with understanding rather than self-righteous judgment. Jung observed that higher consciousness emerges not through spiritual bypassing, but through the integration of opposites. Light and dark, masculine and feminine, rational and intuitive, these seemingly contradictory aspects must be reconciled within for true wholeness to emerge. The chosen ones instinctively seek this balance, refusing the one-sided development our culture often promotes. They understand that wisdom comes not from transcending human nature, but from embracing its full spectrum. The process of making darkness conscious leads to what Jung called the transcendent function, the emergence of a third perspective that transcends and includes apparent opposites. This isn't intellectual compromise, but a genuine synthesis that opens new possibilities for being. When you've reconciled your conscious ideals with your shadow impulses, you access creativity and insight beyond what either alone could provide. This integration is the hallmark of genuine awakening. For the chosen ones, this journey through darkness ultimately leads to greater light. Not the superficial positivity our culture celebrates, but a profound illumination that encompasses the full reality of human experience. By facing what others fear, by integrating what others reject, you develop a consciousness that's both more grounded and more expansive. In making the darkness conscious, you don't just transform yourself, you contribute to the evolution of human awareness, bringing more of the unconscious into the light of shared understanding.